обладает уникальнейшими характеристиками. Вау! Я подъезжаю к одному из интереснейших объектов. Как вы видите, там на парковке видно масса Vision Jet'ов с своеобразными хвостами. Это не что иное, как Cirrus Center Delivery, так называемый, то есть центр передачи новых самолетов заказчикам. Сюда приезжают владельцы бортов купленных, и здесь они получают свои самолеты после сборки. Сама сборка производится в Северной Дакоте в городе Дулуф. Сюда самолеты доставляются своим ходом, и здесь происходит финальная презентация самолета клиенту и, собственно, его передача, первичный его облет. И здесь же у Цируса есть шикарный тренинг-центр, который выглядит вот так. И здесь находятся тренажеры Vision Jet'а. Вот он стоит, красавчик. Я попробую проникнуть внутрь и показать вам всю эту историю изнутри. Awesome. 1 minute for t-shirt. Так, я решил купить какую-нибудь футболку с Vision Jet'ом. Какая вам больше нравится? О, я хочу рубашку, все. Решено, это будет рубашка. Блин, это поло, я хочу рубашку. Хочу рубашку. Так, модная рубашка куплена, теперь я полностью готов к записи видео. Начинаем наше путешествие по Vision Training Center Facility в Ноксвилле, Теннесси. Итак, почему я решил снять это видео про самолет Vision Jet, Cirrus Vision Jet? Не только потому, что мы занимаемся цирусами на протяжении нескольких лет, но и потому, что этот самолет обладает определенными уникальнейшими характеристиками. Несмотря на то, что я заказал этот самолет в декабре 2017 года и заплатил за него депозит, у меня до сих пор, до сегодняшнего дня не было возможности на нем полетать. Дело в том, что когда Vision Jet начали выпускать, первое поколение Vision Jet'ов, спрос был такой огромный, и самолеты уходили новым владельцам так быстро, что получить демо-полет на заводе было практически невозможно. И вот только сейчас, когда выпущено уже порядка 230 самолетов, и уже выпускается поколение 2, Generation 2, у меня появилась возможность приехать на завод, встретиться с директором по продажам и вместе с ним полетать на этом самолете, о чем я сегодня, собственно, в этом выпуске и планирую рассказать. Также сегодня мне будет помогать Джо, это инструктор, он расскажет о себе сам. Он работает на заводе Cirrus уже несколько лет, и он занимается тем, что готовит новых пилотов на самолете Cirrus Vision Jet.
I'm Joe Peterson, a senior vision instructor pilot here at the Vision Center. I've been flying the SF50 for about almost 3.5 years now. I've been with the company for about 5 years. Built this program up from 4 instructors all the way up to, I think we've got 13 instructors now. I was the first Czech airman under the 142 program, helped start the 142 program as well. So kind of seen everything come from nothing.
И Татьяна – это руководитель учебно-тренировочного центра, который отвечает за составление расписания, учебные планы и подготовку новых пилотов.
That's the Danya. That's all I got for you.
That's it? Okay. So we have Tatiana here. Как вы уже поняли, этот самолет создан для владельца, то есть когда владелец, он же самый пилот. Поэтому данный тренировочный центр, он фактически принимает владельцев этих Vision Jet'ов, обучает их, выдает им тайп-рейтинги и дальше отправляет уже в самостоятельное плавание. Oh, cool.
So this is our delivery center ramp. Over there to the right, we've got the maintenance hangar. This hangar here to the left is our detail hangar. This is our ramp out here.
So all this airplane on the ramp, they're ready for delivery, right? For next few days, I believe, or next
Some
weeks?
of them are, yeah. We've got some customer airplanes that come in. So like if our Vision Jet owners come back for a current, a lot of them will fly their airplanes back.
Oh, they park airplane here,
we'll
right?
park them down here.
Okay.
Some of them are corporate birds. We've got a couple flying club airplanes too.
I was really surprised, and I realized that SF50 is already certified for Part 135.
Yes.
I found a few companies who's flying 135. This is was my plan when I ordered the Vision.
We've got probably a half dozen companies that operate a Vision Jet on their 135 certificate. We've got one company that's just starting, and their whole operation is going to be Vision Jets on 135.
Это самый дешевый самолет класса бизнес-джет. В чем его уникальность помимо цены? Это первый и единственный бизнес-джет с одним двигателем. What about the engine? Is it a reliable engine?
Yeah, we haven't had any engine failures, any major issues with the engines. It's been never. It's been I mean, the FJ33 is a scaled down version of the FJ44, which is on like pretty much every citation right now.
Okay.
So Williams, it's not a whole new engine. It's not anything like that they've tried to test or anything. They've been running this engine for a while, so it's the first certified application of it, but they've had it around for a while.
Good. Just briefly, what is the performance characteristic of this airplane? Just basic speed, altitude, how far it can go, how long it can go, how many people you can take on board.
Yeah, so it's an airplane that's kind of built for the owner pilot. So they designed it to do, like, sweet spot for this airplane is 500 to 800 miles, because that's what most of our owners are doing.
500 to 800.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll do if you top it off and you really want to go places. It'll do 1,200 miles.
But you probably can take 2 people on board.
Yeah, 1 or 2 people with that. But it'll go. The G2s will go up to 31,000 feet. They'll do 300 to 315 true at that altitude, and they're burning high 50s, low 60s on the gallons per hour. So it's a pretty economical machine. Usually the first hour is about 90 gallons.
Okay.
So you're about $200 to $300 an hour for fuel.
200, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, reasonable.
You know, people looking at the Honda Jets, the Citation Mustangs, or the M2s, it's coming in about half of the operating cost of those.
Okay.
It's pretty darn low, which is nice. Takeoff distances, 2 to 2,500 feet over a 50-foot obstacle. You can take it in and out of a 3,500-foot strip most of the time. I've had it in and out of a couple 3,500-foot strips.
3,500 feet? Beautiful.
That's kind of my minimum. Most of our owners like to be between 4,000 and 5,000 feet for their minimum. Yeah, it does pretty well. Approach speeds, generally we're coming in 85 to 95 knots on final, touching down at about 75 knots. So it's
the same like on the Cirrus 20.
Yeah,
22.
We generally approach slower than the 22s approach because their profile is 100 knots. So we're coming in a little bit slower than that.
Is it possible to land this airplane on a grass runway? Non-paved?
You can do, they just certified it for gravel. You can't do grass, but you can do like a hard pack gravel surface, yeah.
That's fine. Do you any plans to do that to certify it for grass runway? Because some people ask me, okay, we live in Russia, we live in Ukraine, we have, I don't know, let's say 3,500, 4,000 feet, but it's all grass.
Yep. I don't know. I know it's a separate certification for a jet to do grass. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to do that or not. They don't.
But gravel is already certified.
Gravel's already certified.
Perfect.
Yep.
This
They
is
did
really
that a
good.
couple months ago.
Okay. How many passengers you can take on board on this airplane?
You can do 5 adults and 2 kids. It's got 2 seats in the back that are weight limited to 90 pounds.
So 5 adult, this is a max you can take on board, right?
The G2s have a configuration for what they call the executive seating, which has the center console, which this one does have in it.
So this is all reconfigurable, so I can just remove this central console and I will have more space between chairs, right?
Yeah, all of these, all the chairs, the center console, they all come out. We could take everything out in about 5 minutes if we wanted to. These seats here, so it's this latch, and then the seat is loose and we can take it out.
Wow, impressive.
And then it latches back and it's locked.
So you can completely rebuild this cabin?
Yep.
Okay.
What a lot of our owners do is they'll take out the 2 child seats in the back, and that allows for additional cargo. So you can put bags back there, backpacks, wherever you need to.
Actually, the good question, what is a useful load?
The useful load, typically on these is, the G2s are actually lighter than the G1s.
Uh-huh.
So the useful load on these is 2,400 to 2,500 pounds.
Okay.
And you can put about 2,000 pounds of gas in it. So full fuel typically is about 2 people on the G2s.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you take out about 30 gallons, that gets you another person.
Okay, got it. So if I take 4 persons on board, which is about 800 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
I still have 1,600 for the fuel,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And this 1,600 for the fuel, how long are you gonna fly?
They say you can take 800 pounds, 800 miles.
800 pounds, 800 miles.
Yep.
It's not bad.
No.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, if you look at what most people are using this kind of airplane for, it's a lot of these, you know, less than 3-hour trips. So nobody is really going, you know.
6 hours cross-country flight between East and West Coast,
Yeah,
right?
and you know, we have people that do that make trips, but nobody wants to sit in an airplane for more than, you know, 3 hours because your butt gets sore, you need to use the bathroom, you want to grab some food, whatever it might be. So a lot of our owners, you know, choose to do shorter legs than what the airplane is capable of, just because they're more of the limitation anyway. So even myself, you know, I've done 11, my longest leg in the Vision Jet nonstop was like 1,175 miles, and it was like
1,175 miles.
Yeah.
So you probably spent 4 hours in the air.
Yeah.
So I can fly technically from Miami up to New York nonstop, actually,
Yes.
because it's about 1,000 miles. So it's doable,
Yep.
even if I have 2 people on board.
Yes. The biggest thing with that is going to be the winds, and then going into New York, right? They keep you with this airplane because we're a turbo jet, but we're not quite as fast as all the other jets. They'll bring you down low really early. You technically can do 1,000 miles, but if you're going to an area like New York or Denver, or, you know, Dallas and Texas, you're going to need probably an extra fuel stop just because they're going to burn a lot of gas for you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about interior. So I can see this is the AC.
Yep, so we've got rear 2 zones, so we've got controls for the aft zone back here. Your AC vents are up here. We've got our reading lights, which are dimmable for each seat. Underneath these panels is our oxygen, so our passenger oxygen masks back here. In the G2s, they auto-deploy, just like the airliners. We've got 4 of those panels. Yep, and
wow,
this seat here is as far back as it can go on the in the flight range.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because I have plenty of room for my legs.
This seat's probably pretty close to where a pilot would normally
Usually.
fly. And you've got ample leg room.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice that it allows really easy ingress, egress as well for the passengers. You know, if the pilot's in there ready to go, I can climb in, close the door, and off we go.
Nice. And I can see it's still plenty of room on the rear seats even.
Yep.
So
yeah, the 2 kid seats obviously have a little bit of less room, and with this center console out, this middle seat then has all of this room as well.
Yeah, but this console is optional, right? So owner can do that, or he can say, "Oh, I don't need it." Correct. So the reason to have it is just table probably and some
tables,
storage.
You can put a suitcase or
Yeah,
covers,
it's
whatever
pretty
it
big.
might be
Yeah,
in there.
as I can see, all seats equipped with USB.
Yep.
Right. So I have reading lights here, as usual in a business jet. And what is this pocket about?
That panel there has 2 kind of universal plugs. So if you wanted to plug in your laptop,
I see.
and then underneath it, you've got that audio switch and the HDMI plug, and that goes to entertainment screen there.
So I can plug in my HDMI wire from laptop to this plug, and I will see my movie or whatever on this big screen.
Yep.
Is this optional or it's standard?
It's optional.
Optional.
But I haven't seen one come out without it.
Nice. So and you can control this TV screen from this. panel, right?
Yep, and it'll tie into the airplane's audio panel, so you get the audio through the headsets, so you don't have to plug in headphones or anything like that.
All seats equipped with headsets, right?
Yes.
Even rear ones.
Yes.
Okay. You said a few times this rear seats is for kids, right?
Yep.
What is who is the kids? It's by weight?
Yes. So they're limited to 90 pounds apiece.
90 pounds.
Yeah.
And we can put 3 of them or 2 of them.
The 2 corner seats are weight limited seats.
Okay.
This middle seat here, seat 4, is a full size seat, so you can put
one adult
an
here.
adult in it. Yep.
Wow.
And this middle seat you can put all the way back. It's got a mid position here, so it could go here, or we could put it up front and have a bench seat across, and then have a bunch of extra storage space in the back.
Wow. So it means 90 pounds, I just would like to convert to metric system, is about 40 kilos.
Yep, 40 to 45 kilos.
So 40 kilos is about kid up to, let's say, 10 years old, something like that, right? For the small family, even not for small family like mine, I have 3 kids.
Yep.
And 2 of adults and 3 kids, this is a perfect airplane for us, right? I'm super happy to have this airplane pre-ordered.
Yes.
Во-вторых, у этого бизнес-джета есть парашютная система. И это тоже делает его абсолютно уникальным, потому что нет в мире больше ни одного бизнес-джета с парашютной системой. Третья вещь, которая отличает этот самолет от классических бизнес-джетов, типа вот этого Гольфстрима, это наличие системы аварийной посадки в автоматическом режиме. Комплекс Garmin представил эту систему, которая позволяет пассажиру в случае, если пилоту стало плохо или он умер в процессе полета, или что-то с ним случилось, он не в сознании, при нажатии этой кнопочки на потолке самолет сам автоматически выполняет посадку. То есть он находит площадку, он находит GPS approach, он выполняет заход на посадку, он уведомляет все наземные службы о том, что произошла нештатная ситуация, выключает все мониторы и выводит доступную инструкцию для эвакуации для пассажиров, оставшихся на борту этого судна. Okay, good. I know about auto-land feature, I know about auto-throttle. It's already installed in G2, right?
Yes. So this one's got the auto land button up here. We put it kind of between the pilot and the passenger seats, just so
Just
it's
make sure
easier.
the passenger can reach it.
Exactly,
right?
easier for them to access.
So this magic button, safe return auto land. Question, and you still have parachute system right here.
Yep.
Do you need both of them?
Yes.
Because of engine failure, you need parachute.
Correct.
In other cases, you can use auto land.
Right. So in the case of pilot incapacitation, you can do the auto land system, and it should take care of, get you to a runway, get you down. If you have some sort of an engine failure or some sort of a loss of control, that's when you would use the parachute. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's pretty sweet.
Let's move forward.
So this is the Garmin Perspective Touch Plus.
Okay.
It's based on the G3000 NXI system. We've used different setups with the touch controllers down here. So most of them, you'll see their vertical layout. We've got 3 of them, so they're horizontally laid out. And that also allows us to have a dedicated nav-com controller. Instead of having to switch modes between these, you've got your nav-com there. This one's basically for your GTC or your screens up here, the different screens. And then this one here is your PFD controller. It's really intuitive. It's really nice. You can have, like we're starting up here, we've got our checklist. On the screen, we've got a dedicated button and scroll wheel. So I can navigate the checklists. I can also, if I'm flying an approach, I can put an approach chart up here. And with this single button, I can go between my chart. I want my chart, great. I need my checklist. I can get back to my checklist, run through my checklist, and then bring up the chart again in order to brief the approach or check my altitudes, whatever I want to do. So it's nice to be able to toggle back and forth between those 2 things.
What do you think the just average private pilot who complete his private training in my school, let's say a few months ago, and he probably have about 80 hours. is he able to fly this airplane after type rating, or he needs probably to meet some minimum requirements? I don't know, 200 hours on airplane, 500 hours on airplane.
So the requirements to get the type rating are private pilot with an instrument rating.
Instrument rating. So it will give them about 100 hours of total experience.
Yeah, we've had our lowest time pilot was just under 200 hours that got through the type rating.
Okay. And you think this is enough to start flying the Vision Jet?
To me, that's a little bit low.
Low.
Because, you know, it's good to have a couple years experience flying this airplane, or flying,
Some jets.
Some airplane, right?
Some airplane.
Flying in instrument conditions, you know, shooting approaches, getting in and out of airports, all that sort of stuff. We really designed the program and this airplane to be kind of that 500-hour pilot. Is what we're looking for.
So I can say to my customer, the 500 hours is it's not the requirements, but this is good to have before you go to type rating and fly this airplane.
Yep. So it's, you know, if somebody's looking to get into an SR, you know, they buy the SR, they have it for a couple years, build experience in it, and then move up into something like this.
Okay. What about controls? This is like side stick, right? So it looks like side stick on the Airbus.
Side stick. It's
True
not like
side
the
stick.
SR where it's a side yoke. So it when you get in it, it feels heavy at first, but that's just because you're pulling the rudder vaders. So they're both down, and you pull them up when you do this. So in the airplane, or in the air, when you're flying, they're really light, very responsive. It feels a lot more like an SR in terms of, you know, how snappy it rolls and how quickly, you know, you just kind of think about turning and the airplane starts to go.
Okay.
It's really nice. I love hand flying this airplane with the big windows and the views outside. It's so much fun to hand fly and just sightsee, go fly around the mountains, go fly over your house, whatever it might be. Up and down the coast, I've done all of that with customers.
This side stick is directly linked to controls, right? Without any servos or servos in the middle.
There's the autopilot servos in the middle.
Okay.
But if they're not powered, there's no
any servo, no any boost, so you just can fly like just normal manual flying with all feedback, with all responses. Not like an Airbus, because when I'm flying Airbus, I don't have feedback. I don't have response because it's all controllable by ECAM, by computer.
Right. Yeah. It's cables, push rods, bell cranks to connect.
Like a classic, just normal classic airplane. Awesome. What is this round button on the left side?
This one?
Next one.
This one?
Yep.
That's our start-stop panel. So it's a FADEC engine.
Okay.
So basically all we need to do to start the engine is turn this knob to run and then push the button and the engine starts.
You don't have keys?
No keys.
No keys, no ignitions?
No ignitions.
Wow.
No. So the only key is to get in the main door, and once you're inside, you're all good to go.
Is it like in a car? Pick? No?
Unfortunately not.
No?
Still got to put it in the lock and turn it. But
Okay. What about this central console?
up here, we've got our emergency panel. We've got our quick-down oxygen masks. Obviously, our caps handle here. And we've got our engine fire acknowledge, our fire system over here. So our acknowledge switch, our cabin dump switch, our ELT. We've got our mask microphones. So when you put on the quick-down masks, you can turn
Oh, you
on
need
the
to turn it to microphone.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
And then this switch over here on the right is our passenger oxygen. So if it's on auto, they'll auto deploy. If we switch that to on, they'll all drop down.
Got it. Nice. I'm not gonna go deep inside in avionics, but I just would like to see. This is just standard panel. We have PFD on the left side, we have MFD on the right side, we have 3 touch screens. The MFD and PFD is not touch, right?
Nope, not touch.
So we have only 3 panels touch screen. We don't have any knobs, we don't need to push any buttons, and we have autopilot control model here. A few USB buttons, the same flaps control like an SR20, SR22, and we have this throttle, AT, it's auto throttle, right? When you can engage auto throttle, right after takeoff, or you need to wait up to some prescribed altitude?
It's 400 feet, which is the same minimums as our autopilot.
Autopilot. So you can put, I don't know, nav mode, alt, vertical speed, or flight level change mode, and at the same time alt AT, auto throttle, and forget about throttle completely, right? Do you have any clicks here? Like, yeah, I see MCT takeoff.
Yep,
Okay.
so we've got a detent for MCT.
MCT,
And then full for takeoff.
What is this one?
That's our throttle lock. So we don't have a friction lock for the throttle. So you can, if you wanted to set it at a certain power setting,
Okay.
you could move the throttle, push that, and it uses
And
the
it's gonna
auto
fix
throttle
it.
servo, and it locks
Nice.
it, and then you can disconnect it, and then move the throttle if you need to.
Okay. The hardest question in my life. Why Cirrus has this fuel control switch between left and right?
Instead of just leaving it in auto,
Yeah.
it's the way that the system is designed. So we've got two fuel control valves, a primary and a secondary, and an electric fuel pump as a backup fuel pump.
Okay.
So in auto, the fuel is switching every 2 gallons, and 95% of the time, you're going to leave it in that auto setting, and it's going to do its thing, and you're going to forget about it.
Okay.
In the event of a valve failure,
Okay.
this allows us to either keep it in auto and use fuel control valve number 1, or we can switch it manual left and right, and that'll switch on the electric fuel pump, and that'll pull fuel through fuel control valve number 2.
Okay.
So if you have your fuel valve 2 fail, or fuel valve 1 fail, you can switch it, and it'll pull through number 2. And then also, if you do have an imbalance, that'll allow you to manually balance the tanks.
I understand. Why we don't have auto in SR?
Because it's a manual fuel selector. It's not electric just yet.
This is electric.
This one is electric.
This
So
one
it's-
is electric.
Yep, the
Okay,
fuel valves
gotcha.
are down kind of underneath the floor in the middle, so it's not a direct connection.
Awesome. On the controls on the right and left stick, you have a trim button, right?
Electric trim left and right, just like
The same,
SR.
the same like on SR.
Yep.
No special. Okay.
Yep, your autopilot disconnect is here, and then your push to talk is up top. Just
Awesome.
like the SR.
And I have a huge pockets here to
Yep, big pockets
put
on
my
either
stuff,
side.
right?
Yep. The G2s have the same phone pocket in the front of the seats.
Oh.
And then, so you can put your iPad in this pocket if you're not using it. It's out of the way. You don't have to worry about it putting in the side pocket, which is really nice.
Awesome. I fall in love with Cirrus one more time. Okay.
We've got the main gear, our trailing link suspension, which is really nice. It makes a lot of your landings much better than what they would have been in the SR. No more bouncy landings.
Really?
Anti-skid brakes, but with the
No more bounce and landings?
with the trailing link, it just basically absorbs a
Okay.
lot of the impact. It makes them really smooth. So you can
Nice.
still plant it for sure, and I've had customers do that, but there's no, it's not going to bounce. It's going to absorb a lot of that, so they're going to feel a lot smoother than they would in the SR. So yeah, the gear speeds are high. We can put the gear down up to 210 knots.
Wow, that's good.
With a FADEC engine, the gear's 210, the flaps 50 is 190. So we can dirty this airplane up really quickly. You know, we can approach at 200 knots to a couple mile final, pull the power back to idle, get it configured quickly, and put it on the runway, which is really nice.
You have one pitot tube?
There's dual pitot.
Dual
so one
pitot
on
tubes.
either side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the standard ailerons,
Yep.
all this composite, right?
Everything that doesn't move is carbon fiber.
Okay.
Just like the SR, all the moving surfaces are aluminum.
Aluminum. Okay. So this is aluminum, but this is carbon fiber.
Correct.
Okay.
The whole structure is made of carbon fiber.
What is the total gross weight?
6,000 pounds.
6,000 pounds and 2,400 is useful. Nice. It's really efficient.
We've got our baggage compartment back here, very similar to the SR.
Uh-huh.
So we've got a nice baggage compartment, and then in the back we've got our ski tube, our cargo extend, which gives you...
Really? I can put my skis here.
Yeah.
Nice. What is the maximum elevation field for landing and takeoff on this airplane? Any
10,000.
limitation? 10,000?
Yep.
So I can land on the Tillerite actually.
I've been in and out of Telluride a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
So you land there, no problem, efficient, performance is good?
Yep. Obviously, if it's hot in the summertime, performance you're going to have to make sure, but at those altitudes, the runways are long enough that it's never really an issue.
Perfect. So nice. So here's this power.
Yep, external power.
The standard 28 volts, like standard GPU.
Yep.
Static ports, and the same on the other side.
Yep, dual static ports.
Okay. Delta fins.
Yep, so these are our ventral fins here. We've got flappers on the bottom. So we have both the yaw damper, which works with the rudder vaders, and the system is called the yaw SAS, Stability Augmentation System. They're on all the time. The pilot can't control them, and they just basically flap.
Total automatically. So no controls by pilot on this surface.
Yep, but they're just designed to keep the nose lined up to prevent that kind of Dutch roll that a lot of those VTOL bonanzas.
So it's kind of helping to maintain like your damper, right?
Yeah, it's helping the yaw damper, but it's on all the time.
Okay.
So the yaw damper, just like the G6 SRs, is on automatically above 200 feet.
So you don't need to take care about pushing the button, your damper on, your damper off. You don't care about this,
it does
right?
It all. It's
okay.
on its own.
Nice.
So we've got big old trim tabs here on either side. So we've got a manual trim wheel in this airplane, unlike the SRs, which is really nice to have. So you can get the airplane trimmed out, use that manual trim wheel, and really make.
Or you can do it on electrical pitch, right?
Yeah,
it's
you
the
can
same.
do it on the electrical, but it's a lot easier and a lot nicer to do it with the trim wheel because you get that feedback.
Yeah, feedback first, and some people who transfer from SR, this probably for them maybe from old airplanes like Cessna or Piper or something like that.
Correct.
It's easy for them to use it, right?
Yep.
Is this AC exhaust?
That's the AC's up in the nose. This is the exhaust for the bleed air
Bleed air.
heat exchanger.
Got it. I had a question. As an instructor, do you feel any problem for new Vision pilots to have this V-tail? Because the V-tail is kind of unusual aircraft configuration, right?
Yeah, the hardest thing about the V-tail design is crosswind landings because you don't have that nice straight vertical stabilizer, and these are they're kind of like a sail in a crosswind. So in heavy crosswinds, that's the harder thing to adjust to. If you're not thinking about it, it doesn't act any different than a traditional tail airplane.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about IDIs.
So we've got pretty much everything that we could in terms of anti-ice systems. We've got boots for the tail and the wings. We've got hot bleed air that goes up to the D-ring for the engine inlet. We've got electrically heated probes on the inlet of the engine and the pitot probes in the AOA. And we've got TKS fluid for the windshield and the nose.
Okay, let's start from the boost. It works automatically, or pilot need to control this manually?
It's the pilot turns it on, and after that it's automatic.
Okay, he can forget about pressing this button every
Correct.
5 minutes or
It just
something
goes
like
through
that.
a 1 minute cycle.
Okay.
And as long as you're picking up ice on the wings, it runs through the cycle, and then once you're not picking up any ice, you just turn off the switch.
You said ET probes and inlet is automatically, right? Always on?
You have to turn the switch on for that as well. But
Okay.
once it's on, it's all automatic. You just have to turn it off before it gets too warm.
Okay. And what about the wings? How it works on the wing?
So it's the same thing as the tail, as the wings. Yep, so we've got boots here. When you turn on the system, it runs through a cycle. It does the tail, and then it splits the wing in the bottom half and then the top half, and then it rests.
And the same, as soon as you start your anti-ice, you don't care about how often it should happen, right? They automatically...
It does it on its own, yep. And the nice thing about the gray boots is that they last longer than the black ones, and we have them go back further on the leading edge, so you get more protection than just kind of the front portion that a lot of the older systems use.
I understand. What is this one?
That's
like
a vortex.
Shark.
Vortex generator, just like the SRs have, just to help airflow kind of around the wing root.
Understand. The same. Okay. Why Cirrus decided to do boots instead of TKS like on Fiki on SR22?
Because the boots with a turbine engine, boots are a lot easier to do. You don't have to worry about running out of fluid. Plus, it's a lot more with the V-tail and stuff. There's a lot more to protect. And if you're going 250 knots, TKS fluid really doesn't like to operate at those sort of speeds.
This is emergency exit, right?
Yep.
As I can see. Any baggage compartment in the nose,
There
or
is not. No.
or just?
We've got on this side, this is our air conditioner door. So our AC system is back behind here. We've got a radar in the nose, and then up here is the parachute.
Parachute is here.
Yep.
Okay. How often you need to repair the parachute? The same like an
I
SR?
think it's 10
12,
years. Yeah.
10 years?
10 or 12, whatever it is, yep.
Awesome.
So yeah, we do, like I said, we do have TKS
What is it?
for the nose.
It's TKS for the nose. So
And
it's
then, yep, so it protects the nose, and then we've got our TKS sprayer up here for the windshield.
nice. So even moderate icing conditions, nothing dangerous to this airplane, right?
No, yeah, it does really well in icing conditions. You know, my first 7 months of flying this airplane were in and out of Duluth, and it's a lot of icing in this airplane, and it handles it no problem. Shooting approaches, doing landings, it's really nice.
So you don't need to be super high to close this door, right?
Nope.
Oh, you have. I got it.
Yep. Pretty easy
it.
to open and pretty easy to close.
This is anti-ice light, right?
Yes. Just one on this one for the pilot side.
Nice. So thank you very much. I really
welcome.
appreciate it. It's going to be a really great video.
I hope so.
How many Visions built?
Just over 200.
Over
We've got
200.
serial number 220-ish.
Something like that.
I
I
think.
could look at it to verify.
Good. Cirrus with 4 blades prop.
Yeah, we just offered that new for this year. So you can get it on the 22 and the turbo. Just a different look from the 3-blade composite.
Yeah, because on the 3-blade composite, the blade is wider.
Yep. But it's about the same surface area. So you get the better takeoff performance and climb performance from it, but you take a little bit of a hit on cruise performance. Yep.
Начинается Новый год 2021, и я предлагаю начать его с первого стрима на моем канале. Стрим состоится 9 января 2021 года в 7 часов вечера по московскому времени. Подключайтесь к моему каналу в это время, приходите, оставляйте свои вопросы, и мы с вами пообщаемся просто в обычном формате, без всякой тематики. Вы можете задавать вопросы на тему обучения, на тему жизни в США, на тему покупки самолетов, на тему владения самолетов. Все, что связано с авиацией, все, на что я смогу ответить. Я надеюсь, я смогу ответить на какие-то ваши вопросы. Обо всем об этом мы сможем поговорить. 9 января, 7 часов вечера по Москве. Жду вас на канале. Пока. How long it take to start the engine before takeoff? So you need to spend how many minutes to set up everything?
The engine is not the limitation for
So
takeoff.
you just start the engine, you can go right away, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah, there are temperature limitations with the oil and everything, but even flying in Duluth in the wintertime, I've never run into those limitations. The oil warms up really fast. The whole engine's hot in basically a minute. And it definitely runs really well in the wintertime.
Do you have temperature outside limitations on the airplane?
Yes, your minimum temperature is minus 40 on the surface.
Minus 40, okay.
Yep.
And it was tested on this temperature,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yep.
So engine start fine, no any problems with
If you're below minus 18 Celsius or 0 Fahrenheit, you have to use a ground power unit. Batteries don't like to be well below 0 to power.
How many batteries in this airplane?
2 batteries.
2 batteries.
Yep. Our battery 1 is the primary battery, and that's the engine start. Battery 2 is more of our backup emergency power battery. So it's a very similar,
Like an SR.
yeah, pretty much the exact same as the SR.
What about alternators?
2 generators.
2 generators.
Yep. So if you look at
So this airplane just started the engine and he's already on the taxiway, right?
that came from the maintenance hangar, so they might be doing a run up.
Okay.
But yeah, they could they could go taxi out as long as
Yeah,
they got
I
everything
mean,
set up.
it was like less than 2 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, there's no wait times, and even for shutdown, you land. By the time you're taxied off, park it. You don't have to wait for the engine to cool down or any spool down times like that.
Got it. So you just landed, you taxi to your ramp,
Yep.
shut down the engine and go.
Yep. Another one of those things of really gearing it towards that owner pilot, of not having to worry about, sitting on the ground for a minute, idling, or cooling it down, whatever it might be. Just land, taxi off, park it, and go.
So airplane for private personal owners
Yep.
dash pilots.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Ну что, guys, сегодня действительно великий день. Очень удачно все сложилось. Мне удалось сделать полноценный обзор Vision Jet. Инструктор Джо помог мне полностью разобраться в перформансах самолета, показал его снаружи и изнутри. И через полчаса я вылетаю на Vision Jet на свой первый демо-полет. Stay tuned, подписывайтесь на мой канал, будет еще много интересного. Обзоры самолетов, бизнес-джеты, полеты, обучение, как стать пилотом, сколько стоит, как сделать, как добиться, как реализовать свою мечту. С вами был Андрей Борисевич. Пока.
Подписываемся, ставим лайки, колокольчики.
Подписываемся, ставим лайки, колокольчики, чешем левое яичко.